What's going on, guys? In today's video I'm going to go ahead and share with you everything that the Apple Watch can do. So welcome to the Apple Watch movie, where I highlight all the features, settings, and unique things that you need to know about using the latest generation Apple Watch. This one in particular happens to be the Apple Watch Ultra 2nd generation in that new midnight color option, and over here we have the all new Series 10 in that jet black color. But regardless of which watch you have, this is perfect for beginners as well as experts, as I'm certain you're going to learn something new. Let's start off with the beginning so everybody's on the same page and work our way up to the more new stuff. Let's start off with the gesture controls. The new one obviously is the new double tap ability by just pinching your hands like this. This will allow you to freely activate smart stacks as well as scroll if you're using like a third-party app. As an example, any app that has a scrolling ability, you can just do this. You can also use this to take photos, dismiss timers, answer or pick up calls, and when listening to media, you can pause and play your music this way as well. Then digital crown also serves some different purposes as well, because a double tap will allow you to activate app switcher, and in here you can quickly swipe to close apps, and a long hold will allow you to activate Siri. Then with the power button, a single tap will take you to control center, a double tap will take you to your Apple Wallet, and a long hold will take you to your power off menu, as well as your siren, your medical ID, compass backtrack ability, or emergency SOS. And if you keep long holding it, this will toggle the siren for your Apple Watch as well, and will get hold of emergency dispatchers. And to properly force close an app, let's say for example I have the fitness app right here, long hold on the power button and long hold on digital crown, that's going to force close the app, because next time when you launch it, it relaunches from scratch. Then if you're using the Ultra Apple Watch, this over here is your action button, which can be programmed to do a bunch of other things. Like you see, mine is programmed to launch my workout app. But if you long hold and continue long holding, you have the freedom to quickly switch between different shortcuts right here on your Apple Watch instead of using your phone. Then when receiving an incoming message, if your device is not on mute, just cover it and keep holding it. You'll feel a vibration, because if you look in your control center, your Apple Watch is now in silent mode. You can also do this whenever you're receiving incoming calls. Just do that and it'll stop vibrating. Now in terms of notifications, of course, a little swipe like this will bring on your notifications. But if you like to mute a notification, you can slide to the side. You can either decide to clear that individual notification or tap these little dots. You can mute it for an hour, mute it for today, or decide to turn off time sensitive or turn off in general. But exiting out of that, if you scroll all the way to the very top, here's where you clear all your notifications. And a notification slider can be accessed no matter what you're doing. So if we open up an app as an example, just long holding on top will always grant you access to your notifications. And Control Center can also be accessed by tapping the power button, even in an app. Now the Control Center is pretty interesting and pretty unique. If you have a cellular version Apple Watch, you'll have your cellular reception bar. You can always tap right here to see the stats. Your Wi-Fi, you could enable or disable Wi-Fi individually or long hold and manually connect to a Wi-Fi network if you don't have built-in LTE from here. Airplane mode, you could toggle from here. Next to that is your battery percentage. By clicking on here, you have quick access to enable low power mode. And of course, you have your pin your phone ability. By tapping, it will play sound on your device, so it can help you locate it faster. And then if you toggle this little icon and you just long hold, it will actually illuminate the flash LED on your iPhone, so you can see it better in a dark place. Next to that will be the flashlight app, which if you're using the Ultra 2, this will go up to 3000 nits. This will get ridiculously bright. You have different modes to select from. Red is ideal to use at night, as this will allow you to maintain your night vision. Then next to that is wire lock, which means your entire screen it's locked. You're unable to operate it. Ideal for water situations. And to unlock, just long hold on digital crown. It will play a sound, which is set to help eject all the liquids in the speaker grills. Then right here will be your focus modes. You have a selection of many different focus modes available, including the new ones like the reduce interruptions using machine learning. You can set the time. And you can also do it based off location. It will be on the very bottom. It will show the current address. So once you leave this location, it will automatically disengage. But in our case, I'm just going to turn it on. Then of course, next to that is your silent and non-silent. And then theater mode will basically disable your always on display, but you'll still feel your notifications and other important stuff. Just it's not going to play sound, nor will it illuminate your screen. Ideal for the theater, of course. But if you rotate the digital crown, you can take like a quick peek and rotate it back down. And if you need to enable the flashlight app, it'll default to the red flashlight, so it doesn't disturb others around. So let's get out of that. Next to this is your speaker volume knob, where you can adjust the internal speaker of your Apple Watch, compatible on the Ultra 2 as well as the Series 10 Apple Watch. And then next to that will be your AirPlay, where you could connect to external speakers, such as AirPods or other devices right here, or even third-party external sources of audio like over-ear headphones or external speakers this way as well. You can pair to them with Bluetooth. These AAs will be your text size adjuster. Here you have the ability to quickly adjust your text size if the font's too small for you. There's a quick shortcut to that right here. Walkie-talkie mode. This allows you to communicate with other Apple Watch users like a walkie-talkie. You can send the invite by launching the walkie-talkie app right here. In the walkie-talkie app, this is where you can invite a friend, so both of you guys could interrupt each other randomly throughout the day, and you can just come here to disengage it. Next to that, if equipped, will be your volume level. Here you can use the digital crown to adjust the volume. And this bell icon will only illuminate when you have a pair of headphones like AirPods paired to your device. So to demonstrate, I am going to connect my AirPods Pro to this Apple Watch. And if we go back, and now it allows it to engage it or disengage it. And by having disengaged, basically it will just read out loud all your notifications to your earbuds. But again, it will only work when you have a pair of AirPods or other wireless earbuds hooked up to it. And then if you tap edit, not only can you rearrange these, delete some of these, but you'll find some other ones you can add, like school time mode. With school time mode enabled, basically like a focus mode for school time, it'll limit your notifications, it'll block apps, it'll basically put your watch in do not disturb mode. And when you enable it, you're stuck with this watch face, and it's just gonna make your watch work like a watch. It will just display the time, and that's it. Because your control center and everything else is not accessible unless you hold down on the digital crown and confirm that you want to exit. Then if you need to take a power nap, since the Apple Watch does feature sleep tracking, you no longer have to go in your focus mode and manually select you're about to sleep to start tracking this, as the Apple Watch can now do automatic sleep tracking. But if you do enable sleep tracking mode, when we cover up our screen, our always on display is disabled, and you can only see the time when you tap on it. But if you like to exit the screen instead of long holding, you could just now single tap the digital crown to have access to your apps, to quickly reply on a message as an example, and then just cover and just go back to your sleep tracking. So it's cool. You can now tap just to get out of that and then just undo. So Smart Stack is heavily focused now on WatchOS 11, where here you can find Siri suggestions and your live activities also as well in here. Basically exactly like the live activities that's on our iPhone. But if you go all the way down and you enable music detection, the Smart Stack is smart enough that it can now listen to music. It will automatically identify the song that's playing. So you walk in the store, just activate your Smart Stack, you'll be able to see the song that's playing automatically. But if we go ahead and long hold, you can see you could add more to your Smart Stacks, as these are basically widgets. And one of the new apps that got added was the Shazam app, which allows you music recognition. And if you like to pin a Smart Stack to always be on top, just tap the pin icon and save it. And now that one's guaranteed to always be on top. Meanwhile, the Siri suggestions will always remain on the bottom and will adapt depending on your lifestyle automatically. And then down here, you'll see a row of 3 apps. This is your row favorite app list, which you could always go in and manually delete them and swap them with other use apps you use the most. Another useful widget to possibly add is the check-in, where you can check in with your friend, spouse, or anybody you need to check in with whenever you reach a certain location. You could just add it and then always check in with that individual and just select them from your contacts. Now this top cursor up here will always show you your notifications or the little mode you're in. And in Control Center, this top portion with these icons will always indicate what's currently happening on your Apple Watch, if it's connected to your iPhone, if it's on silent, or if it's in a focus mode. In terms of watch face features, of course, you have the ability to rearrange watch faces like this. Just long hold and just rearrange them to your own personal preference. You can also activate the swipe to switch watch faces. If it doesn't work on yours, you need to go into your Apple Watch settings Scroll down to the clock section and then enable swipe to switch watch face. And now you can just do this to switch between different watch faces. There you go. It takes a while to get used to. And then to delete a watch face, just slide up and hit remove. Now, if your friend wants to have the same watch face that you have on your Apple Watch, you can always just long hold and go tap on the little box arrow that's pointing upwards. And on here, you can select contact information, but where it says the title of the watch face name, and here you can decide if you want to include some of the complications you see on the side for them or not. This way, they don't need to download a certain app to really utilize it, you know. And then just hit check mark, select them, and send it like a text message. Now, some of these watch faces actually do feature some unique features. For example, if you click on Chronograph Pro, and we add this, you will actually have chronograph features. If we tap on this, as an example, you can start a unit timer to measure like the speed and that some sort of object or you're measuring is traveling at, and just record it like that. Another one I could think of that has unique features is Count Up. It's also fully customizable, but in here you could enable this timer ability from the watch face itself without having to use a complication. I go more into detail on the watch faces with hidden features in that video over there. But out of all the watch faces with the most complications, it has to be the Modular Ultra, as this one could hold up to 7 complications as you see here. But if you don't have an Apple Watch Ultra, another one that holds a lot of complications is the infograph as well. Because if we add this and we count the complications, this one holds up to a total of 8 complications, as the center one is also a complication as well. But it's only the Modular Ultra that has the capability to be automatically switched to night mode. You can either leave it on all the time, off, or have it on auto mode, which will utilize the internal sensors that the Apple Watch Ultra has to decide between this watch screen when you're in a bright environment and the other one when you're in a dark environment. Watch face is exclusive to the Ultra is the Wayfinder watch face. This one also has the ability to activate night mode. Now, when it comes to Siri operations, by default, you should be able to raise up and just start talking and Siri will start listening. And some of the cool commands for Siri is 8 minutes. As you don't have to actually say like start a timer, you can just say the time and it will automatically start a timer. Another thing, if Siri is ever falsely activated, you can just say never mind. Never mind. And it goes away just like that. Siri can also open up websites too, so if you say something like google.com and click on the first URL, it will activate WebKit. So earlier I did feature the Compass Backtrack ability where you could have access to it right here. This is the same Compass app that your Apple Watch has. So you can launch it either or, it'll still take you to the same spot. And here you have the capability to zoom in and zoom out to see your previous bookmarks you've created using the Compass app, or zoom all the way in for an actual compass. But as you're walking around, you can add tags as well, like landmarks, and color them as well. And if you keep going down, it'll show you your coordinates as well as your location. But this little arrow with the dots is your backtrack recording. Here you can start recording a backtrack, and notice how you do not have to launch a workout app or anything like that like Android Wear watches typically require you to do. You can start this regardless of what you're doing. So you're just casually off the grid, and by tapping on here, we'll take you to the activated app, and it'll show you the little line path you have created. And when you're ready to head back, just hit this and retrack your path. But in our case, we didn't do anything. We're just going to delete the path. So that's a quick rundown on how that works. It utilizes the built-in GPS on the Apple Watch to do this. Now, you may have noticed the app library could look like this, a nice little grid view. If you long hold, you can actually rearrange these apps to your own personal preference as well as delete them. But if you are rearranging them, I recommend it's easier just going onto your Apple Watch app, native to your iPhone, and look for app view. And here, alignment, it's easier to rearrange it right here than it is on this screen. But if you like to change the layout to an alphabetical order instead of this, look, go all the way down, you can switch to list view. And all your apps are in alphabetical order. You can still slide to delete as well. Now, in terms of settings, this is where you can find a bunch of the safety features as well as some additional goodies in here. So by launching the setting app, this is how your setting app looks like. And if you ever find yourself on the very bottom of any app, just tap on top, it will automatically scroll you all the way to the very top. Or once more, you could do this the double gesture, tap gesture to scroll. But starting from the very beginning, your top portion will allow you to monitor your Apple ID, personal information, sign in, and subscriptions as well. Just I don't recommend doing it on the watch because it takes a lot longer to load things versus using your iPhone. But down here you can also monitor all your other Apple devices that you own, and yes, I know I have a lot. Then in notifications, this is where you customize things to the next level. This notification indicator, by disabling this, if you're annoyed seeing that red dot whenever you're on the watch face itself, as an example, disable the notification indicator and that will remove that. Then in show summary when locked, when turned on, when you get a notification, it will say something like iMessage, new message. When it's off, it will say iMessage, John Smith said hi, as an example. I have it turned on as some messages are confirmational and I don't want the watch showing a preview of the message. So for the best privacy, just keep this on. And then on the very bottom where it says tap to show full notification, this is actually slightly better because now if we cover our device and we receive like a notification, regardless what you're doing with your watch, when you receive that notification, it's going to look like this. It's just going to hide the body of the message unless you tap on it, and it will show you the rest of the body. Then underneath there where it says show notifications on wrist down, here you can actually enable or disable it for all your apps or individually select an app. This way, whenever you have your wrist down, those notifications will not interrupt you. And then in Siri announcements, in here, you can enable it so Siri can announce notifications. Basically the same thing I was showing you that was right here in Control Center. But getting out of that, in the Smart Stacks, where it says live activities, if you click on here, this is where you can edit the live activities, where you can enable to allow live activities to always show. And on the bottom of that, where it says auto launch live activities, a demonstration would be, I'm going to randomly play a song, and now whenever I flip up my watch, the live activity shows that I have media control on my watch because I'm playing music right now. And from here I can pause and play the track, as well as launch the now playing media controls. If you don't like your watch to automatically do that, just disable it here. And if we cover our watch again and tap on the song and we activate it, it didn't switch to our watch face. So you can customize it. As you see, you just manually have to go back in Smart Stack to launch it if you have something going on in the background. I'm going to keep mine on because I actually do enjoy it. And then on the bottom there, you could decide if you wanted to also be able to do this when your wrist is down. But if you like to disable it on some apps in particular, like the media app as an example, you can have it disabled entirely. Or you could disable the auto launch or the Smart Stack, or you could decide if you want the actual app to launch instead of the Smart Stack. So since I selected the app, now if I go ahead and cover this, now if I hit play and we go back over here, notice how it doesn't take us to the Smart Stack anymore. It's just launched the actual full app now immediately. But you can still access Smart Stack again. It's just an interesting tool they gave us. But going back, and then down here you have those same adjustment settings, but for other apps, same layout and everything. Now leaving live activities, underneath there is widget suggestions. If you want Siri to constantly adjust your widgets automatically based off your activity, you can enable it or disable it there. And here you could decide on what app you don't want it to have access to your Smart Stack suggestions. You just individually click on the app and disable it. Or certain categories. Exiting out of there, in the General tab, in the About would show you your ID, your serial number, as well as all the other information about your current Apple Watch. Software update, this is where you can monitor your software updates. You can also do it on the iPhone. Orientation, this allows you to quickly rotate it from different wrists. If you wanted to switch from left to right side, you can. Or you can rotate the digital crown as well if you want the digital crown to be on this side whenever you're wearing it on your right. I personally prefer having it this way because this button is unlikely to be bumped into something accidentally and cause damage being here versus being over here. And since everything's flat over here, it's less likely to damage the moving component. But the reason why I don't wear it over here, like I typically enjoy to, it just doesn't look pleasing on the camera. And a lot of you guys have commented about it. So getting out there, in the auto launch, very similar to what we covered in the Smart Stack section, this takes you back to that auto launch settings that we went through, just in a different category. But when submerged, the Series 10 as well as the Ultra 1 and the Ultra 2 has the capability to enable the Depth app. So if you hit selected app and you scroll down, you'll see the depth app right here. This will automatically engage when the Apple Watch detects you are in water. Here you can decide if you want it to immediately engage or engage after a certain depth. So like 3 feet is the max we can enable. And you can also have it running in the background if you select remain on watch face. But exiting out of there, in the background app refresh rates, a lot of people like to disable this because it will force close all the background apps. So if you're not a heavy Apple Watch user, you may want to consider disabling this, as it could preserve a little bit more battery life. Just if you constantly find yourself opening and launching these apps, this will also use more battery resources as well. Then down here, you can manually disengage some of the apps you just don't want to run in the background at all. So for example, if I would like to disable mail, since this is an app that I really don't find myself ever using in my Apple Watch, but I also want to have it on the side so I don't have to delete it entirely when I do need it. This way, it will only run when I tap on it and activate it. And once I'm done, it's not using any battery resources. So exiting out of that, now below that is return to clock. So after 2 minutes, whatever app I was in, my Apple Watch will always return to the main watch face. But if you wanted to always go back to your main watch face whenever you dismiss your watch, you could enable it so, or you could leave it up to an hour. So to give you a demonstration, I'm going to select 2 minutes, right? I'm going to select the compass app. Now if I do this to dismiss it and I bring it back up, it's going to take me back to the app. But past the 2 minutes, it will take me back to my main watch face, because if I select always and I go ahead and do the exact same thing, dismiss it and come back to it, it's going to take me to my main watch face. Personal preference, you have that freedom to adjust. 2 minutes works always fine for me. Or you can select the app individually if you wanted to have that ability or not. Now leaving out of here, in Nightstand mode, this is where you can enable Nightstand, but most people I know will want to disable this. And what my Nightstand mode is basically, if we take off our Apple Watch, cover it to go back to its watch face, and we plug in the charging puck, and yes, you can use your own iPhone to charge your Apple Watch, so long as you have a USB-C, and attach it, wait for it to charge. This is Nightstand mode. But if you have a clock or something like that on your nightstand already, this is unnecessary. So that's why you may want to consider disabling it. But in Nightstand mode, you do have access to quickly tap on it right here to have access to the exact percentage of your Apple Watch charge percentage right here, and you can dismiss it. And when it's below 10%, this will be red, not green. But you can still monitor your notifications by seeing that little dot, but it could be gone if you disable it as well. So that's what Nightstand mode does. So exiting out of here, Airdrop, this will give you Airdrop ability if you want to enable or disable this. This is good to disable if you don't want to be able to use tap to cache, the new ability for iOS 18, where somebody could just go up to your Apple Watch and then basically tap to cache you. Now since I'm paying myself, it's not going to go through. It just does the little light animation as you see right there. But if you don't like the tap to cache ability, you could disable Airdrop right here for your Apple Watch. You can also use this to exchange contact information as well, where an iPhone user or an Apple Watch could just tap you and you guys will exchange contact information. Getting out of there, on the bottom here is Handoff Mode. With Handoff Mode enabled, if you launch the Message app and you're about to reply to a message as an example, if you're using the paired iPhone, and we unlock it and you open up App Switcher, you'll see on the very bottom it says message on Apple Watch. You can just click on it. It'll quickly take you to the message where you last left off. That's how Handoff Mode works. It also works on your Mac or iPads as well. And then on website data, if you like to clear your history, if you're using WebKit, you could just hit clear right there. Now in Dictation, personal preference, but if you don't want Dictation to work on your Apple Watch, you could disable it. You could also allow it to auto pronunciate. Self-explanatory, not much there. Screenshots, if you want to be able to take screenshots on your Apple Watch, you can just enable it here and just hold down on the power and digital crown at the same time. And this will take a screenshot and it will send that screenshot that you took to your phone's camera roll. But if you don't like screenshots, you could disable it. So next time when you falsely tap these two, it doesn't just take up a bunch of storage on your photos. And profiles, this is where you can monitor and see if you have any profiles installed even for work purposes and stuff. So if you had a job and you left it, you can always just go back and monitor it right here or delete it if you're not involved in that. Regulatories is where you'll find like more information about your device. Storage, this is where you can monitor your storage as All modern day Apple Watches now typically have 64 gigabytes of storage, just like your iPhone. Everything is categorized. And resets where you can do like a soft reset or a hard reset and delete, factory reset, everything. And then shutdown, of course, it'll take you to the shut off screen. But now exiting out of there, getting out of general, moving on to the focus tab. And here on the very bottom where it says mirror my iPhone, by disabling this, you can have it so two devices cannot synchronize their focus modes. Airplane mode, you can do the exact same thing, where you can make it so it behaves, follow the behavior off your iPhone for Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So in our case, I have Wi-Fi disabled, so whenever I enable airplane mode, Bluetooth is still on, so it's still communicating to my iPhone. So if you want your Wi-Fi to remain on, enable it or disable them. Cellular, again, this will just show you your cellular connection, very similar to Control Center. Same goes for Wi-Fi. Bluetooth allows you to quickly pair to third-party Bluetooth headphones right here. You just put their device on Discover mode and you'll find it right here on the very bottom. Display and brightness, slider to adjust the brightness, text size, showed you earlier. You can bold in the text if you really need to. And here's where you can decide if you want always on display on or always on display off. And with always on display on, if you don't want to show your complications, you could disable it right here. So if I go in my always on display, all my complications are grayed out. It just will display me the time, giving me a little bit more privacy if I have somebody who's nosy. And of course, you could go down and disable it depending on the apps if you just want certain apps not to show when always on display is enabled. And then down here, you'll find show notifications when your wrist is down. You could disable them like I showed you earlier. Same goes for live activities. On the bottom here is wake on wrist rise. If you don't want the auto wake ability, you want to manually just tap on it to wake up your display, you could enable it or disable it. You can also wake it up by rotating digital crown as well. So if we cover this and rotate digital crown, it'll wake up our display. Cool thing about this, if you have this enabled and you disable always on display in general and we cover our device, our always on display is disabled, right? But by rotating digital crown, you can always do that little peek I showed you with theater mode. And then in wake duration, you can allow the Apple Watch to go to always on display mode after 15 seconds or maximize it to 70 seconds. By selecting 70 seconds, you're likely to go through your battery life faster. But when I'm recording my videos, 70 seconds works best for me. So depending on your situation, that could be a better option. But getting out here, underneath there is app view, switch to the grid and list view. I showed you that earlier. In gesture controls, you could disable the double tap gesture if you just don't find yourself using it. You could disable the cover to mute if you don't like that when you silence your device by covering it. That's it from gestures. The action button, here's where you could change the little action buttons actions. But again, you can just long hold now. You don't have to go in settings. But all the way in the very bottom, if you like to, you could disable the siren if you hold it. Because if you long hold the action button and you continue holding it, it'll take you to the siren mode. So power, long hold on power will take you to SOS. Long hold on this one will take you to siren. But SOS will also play siren on your SOS mode. But getting out here, in accessibilities, you can enable voiceover, zoom. You can enable or disable the label on and off labels, which is basically O and I's. Reduce transparency if you need it to reduce contrast and any blur effects if you find it a little bit too sensitive for you. Or you could increase the contrast as well if you need your text to pop out a bit more. Color filtering, if you're hard at seeing, you do have color filter options right here. Also works great whenever you're wearing polarized glasses. Minimize brightness. This will increase the minimized brightness of the display when it will automatically adjust to the ambient lighting conditions. Personal preference, again, for hard to see. And of course, you could change the text size right here as well. Bolding the text, as I showed you earlier. You can also reduce the motion if it's a bit too much for you. But in here, you could disable the auto message effects too, which are like GIFs or animations, which I'll show you in a bit. You go here, also enable chimes. But in these chimes, you have the capability to allow it to notify you every hour, 30 minutes, or 15 minutes. And if you don't know what chimes are, basically think of grandfather clocks. If it's 12 o'clock, my Apple Watch will play a sound or vibrate my wrist, let me know that an hour has gone by. And you can swap it between bells or birds. but normally it goes off the silent mode on your watch. So if we had our watch on loud, it will play a loud sound, but since we have it on silent, we're just going to feel vibrations on our wrists. Getting out of here, in motor assist touch, you can actually control your Apple Watch with just hand gestures, but by doing this, this will disable the double tap gesture. But with assistive touch enabled, basically you can control your Apple Watch with just moving your wrists or just doing certain hand motions. It's really interesting. I'll link a video in the description down below, more information on how to set that up. But if you like to change the click speed, you do have slow or slower, as this is not only the speed for the double click function for the digital crown, but also the digital crown overall scrolling speed too, if you want to slow it down a bit more. But where it says touch accommodations, if you have gloves on, you may want to consider turning this on because this will make your Apple Watch screen more sensitive. So this will be ideal if you find yourself wearing gloves or something like that on your hands a lot. You could easily increase the sensitivity on your watch. And then when this is enabled, you can also increase the hold duration whenever you're selecting something. And then where it says ignore repeat, whenever you're like spamming something, whenever you enable this, you have the slider on the bottom right here, you can see, where you could adjust it. So the amount of time you spam on a certain device, it will enable it and respond to it or ignore it. Again, this is primarily for glove purposes. And then in the tap assist, if you have a disability where you're having a hard time maneuvering the Apple Watch, you have these two other settings to choose from, where the initial touch will be the tap location, or use the final touch to be the last tap location. So as an example, was this one enabled? So if I slide my finger like sideways but released, there we go. That was the last known touch location, so it selects that as the touch location. Then if you go on the very bottom with one of these enabled, you can also delay the tap as well. So you could adjust it to your own personal preference if you need it. But we don't, so I'm having that off. Now, quickly getting out of here, underneath there, you could do the exact same thing where you could have your Apple Watch automatically pick up a call, and you could set the duration right here after 5 seconds or 6 seconds after ringing. So it's pretty cool you have that ability. And in control near devices, yes, we can actually control certain devices with our Apple Watch. You could do the similar thing on the iPhone as well. So to demonstrate how to control our Apple Watch from our paired iPhone, go into your iPhone settings and go into accessibility and scroll down till you find Apple Watch mirroring. Select here, enable it. There we go. And everything you do here will be controlled in real time on the Apple Watch. It's kind of laggy, all depends on your internet connectivity, but it's a pretty cool feature in case your Apple Watch is total and you need to adjust something real quick. Now back here, if you go down, for the walkie-talkie feature, you can add tap to talk if you want to. Now right below there, unfortunately, I am not sure exactly what it means by auto select focus app, because the description just reads, after 1 second of inactivity, the Apple Watch can automatically open the focus app. I don't know what that means, so I have that off because of that reason. AirPod and Beats, this allows you to manually select between any pair Apple device or Beats product that you have paired with your iCloud account. So getting out of there, here's your Siri control. In Siri, you could type to Siri if you need to from your wrist. And then underneath there, you can also select a Siri's pause time to be longer or longest. If you want Siri to take a little bit while before responding back to you, you can increase the speed right here by just slowing it down. And then in below that is RTT, stands for real-time text. It's a protocol that transmits audio as you type. If you have a hearing or speech difficulty, the Apple Watch with Cellular can communicate using RTT when you're away from your phone. The Apple Watch uses its built-in software, RTT, that you configure in the Apple Watch app and requires no additional devices. So if you need something like this, you do have that ability to enable it and adjust it to your own personal preference. Mono audio, you can also adjust mono audio from here as well if you wanted to be more focused on the left or right. You could adjust it here as well. Headphone notifications, by having this on, this will protect your hearing, as the Apple Watch will send a notification if it notices that you've been exposed to loud headphones or decibels in real time. So you'll get a notification letting you know that, hey, decibel levels are pretty high for the amount of time you've been listening to. Now below here where it says show auto transcriptions, by having this on, if you have HomePods, this will show the HomePods transcriptions right here on your wrist. And then HotshotTek time speed, if you want to increase it or decrease it, you can. In speech, you can enable live speech. Triple tap the digital crown to show live speech. So if I triple tap, here we go. You can literally type in something and the Apple Watch can speak.
Hi.
As you just heard it say hi right there.
Hi.
And back underneath there, you could change the phrase. If you like to save a certain phrase or add a phrase, you go to the name with icons. And voice, you have the freedom to select between these different voices. Tap on it to preview them. And you can also do other language as well. But on the bottom here, you can also create a personal voice, which can be shared across all your other Apple devices or allow applications to also use your personal voice. And if you like to set up your personal voice, if you have a hard time with speaking, on your iPhone main settings, go into the accessibility tab and go down till you find personal voice. Right here. And then create a new voice. It's going to make you read a lot and it could take you up to 2 hours to set up. But once you do, it comes pretty darn close to your actual voice. And it will synchronize with your Apple Watch. Then down below there is another accessibility shortcut tab for color filters and stuff like that, where you could activate by triple tapping the digital crown. But this will replace the live speak ability as we showed you earlier. But getting out of there, in the Siri tab, this is where you could decide if you wanted to listen to a verbal command to wake it up, or use that phrase, or have it off entirely. But in the raise, you could allow it so by raising your wrist and just asking a question, Siri will pop up. So to demonstrate, if I do this, what time is it in Europe? It will start listening, just like that. But if you don't like it, to do that, you could disable it, or you could disable the hold digital crown to summon Siri. Personal preference, or you can have both of them on. And down here, you have the ability to clear your entire Siri history if you don't want that to be no longer stored on your device and start fresh. Below there, you can change the language, change the Siri voice, change the Siri respond, announce calls, announce notifications. You can disable that individually, as well as the actual app if you want to individually disable it from there. And then the message with Siri, you can disable it. If you don't like it to ask you, like, would you like to reply, you can disable it. And then in use with Siri, if you have like a third-party app that requires Siri to be used, you could disable it right here. And Siri suggestions in the map, you could allow it to mirror or custom, so it's not a clone of your Apple Watch. And then in sound and haptics, here you could adjust the ringtone alerts if you want to be lower or higher. You can enable silent mode or disable it. The haptic feedback, if you feel like the vibration motor is a little bit too weak for you, you can select prominent, which is more aggressive, but default works perfectly fine with me, or you can have it off entirely. Ringtones, you can now change the ringtone of the Apple Watch, and you have quite a bit. So this is a preview of them. Because on the Apple Watch, you can now change the ringtone, tone, text tone, new messages, calendar alerts, reminder alerts, or default alerts. So if you have a household with a lot of Apple Watch users, you can now make your device sound slightly different than theirs. No support for third parties yet, unfortunately. And then in system haptic sounds, the digital crown haptics, if you don't like it to feel the haptic motors whenever you're using digital crown, you can disable it or enable it. System haptics, you could disable that as well. And then in the headphone audio tab, this will allow you to actually see the amount of times you receive that loud headphone notification. Or you can enable reduce sound, because if you go down, you have the speaker slider, which if you look closely, you could adjust the decibel level to peak at 75 decibels, 80, 85, 90, 95, or 100. So if you're wearing headphones that they peak at 100, it won't allow them to go any higher. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it off because I do not need that restriction. But out here, passcodes. By turning this on, this will allow you to set up a passcode for your Apple Watch. And the settings you have here is to change your passcode, or disable this if you want to create a more complex password. But if you like to disable the wrist detection, you can. By turning this off, once you enter the password and you remove your Apple Watch from your wrist, it's not going to ask you for the passcode anymore. And then since our wrist detection is disabled for our lock page, to manually lock it, you'll find a new lock icon on your control center. You could tap on here and it will lock your device. Now in the SOS tab, this is the side button that you could disable. Basically the power button that if you long hold, it'll toggle SOS. In the fall detection, this is where you can enable fall detection, which is disabled by default unless you're over a certain age. I believe it's 55 or older. It will be enabled. If you're younger than that, you need to manually go in here and enable it. And you can decide if you want to adjust it to only during your workouts it will be on, or always on. And I've had in the past, my other Apple Watches was the always on function. Once every 2 years it will be falsely toggled, but once it's falsely toggled you have like 10 seconds to respond before it dials 911. So I'm always able to catch it and disable it. I don't have any concerns for always having it on. And when you hear it, it's loud. So I personally like having this on just because it gives me peace of mind. And then down here, you can also enable crash detection and then medical ID, which you can set up on the Apple Health app. And if you haven't yet set it up, it's as easy as just launching the Health app on your iPhone, tap on your profile and click on medical ID and it'll walk you through everything. And then in there, you can also add a emergency contact for them to also be notified in case of emergency. If your Apple Watch dials 911, they'll also will receive a text message that you are in danger and will send your current location to them as well. Now getting out of here, this is where you'll find the battery percentage of your Apple Watch, including your battery health. And you can decide if you want battery optimization or not. And you can see the battery capacity. And then of course you have access to low power mode right here as well. And then below there you'll find additional settings to adjust. But some of the important ones that are not really well covered is the calculator app. You see you can switch between tip function or percentage function. By having tip function enabled, if you launch the calculator app on your Apple Watch and you enter like an equation because you're with a group of friends and you're splitting a check of $50, tap tips, add the tip percentage you want to tip. So it's already suggesting 20% off 50, it's 60. And then here you can decide between the amount of people in your party. So each person will pay this amount to help pay for this and the tip. But if you don't need it, you can always just go back and switch to the proper percentage instead of the tip function for the calculator app on the Apple Watch. Another function that's hidden on the Apple Watch is hand washing. You see, by having the hand washing timer enabled, based off of movement and the sound, the Apple Watch is able to determine that you are washing your hands and will automatically start a 20-second timer, which is the recommended amount to properly have your hands clean. And once the 20-second timer is up, it'll notify you by vibrating your wrist and will also keep this data in the Health app. So if you like to make sure you properly wash your hand with the correct 20-second amount that's recommended, you could just enable it and the Apple Watch will be able to count on your behalf. And then below there, you can also enable reminders to wash your hand. So if it knows you're home, which will utilize your location, so by allowing it to have your location, it will keep track of your habits. And if it notices that you are home after going outside, it will notify you to wash your hands. So that's a little cool little health trick that it has going on right there. And then if your Apple Watch is equipped with the Depth app, in here you can switch between meters or feet, Fahrenheit or Celsius. So a little bit customization ability right there. Now the Mindfulness app can be annoying at times if you don't want it to automatically notify you whenever it's time to do like a mindful exercise. You could disable it right here if it's too annoying, or set in a reminder if you actually like it. And then for the music app, in the music app on your Apple Watch, you can allow it to add your favorite songs or playlists, as well as some additional settings like add your recent music. And then you can manage all the data right here on your Apple Watch as well. But to me, this app is more useful when you use the actual Apple Watch app on your Apple Watch, because by going in here and going to the music section, right in here, you could individually add the playlist, artists, albums, or any song to be manually installed and downloaded on your Apple Watch. So here you can select a playlist. For this video demonstration purposes, I'm going to select this one and then tap the plus icon. And now next time when you dock your Apple Watch to a charger, it will automatically send this playlist and download it onto your storage of your Apple Watch. You could do the exact same thing with podcasts as well, where you could allow the Apple Watch to download them automatically or launch it on the app on your Apple Watch on your iPhone to manually install it. And now right here I have a Series 10 Apple Watch, because if you hit play on this podcast, you could actually listen to the audio without having to connect to a Bluetooth device, and you could adjust the audio as well. On the Ultra 2, you could do the exact same thing on the music app as well, as you can also play music through the loudspeaker. Just make sure you select the device to be played on. Select other speakers, and then go ahead and select your Apple Watch. And now it should go away and it should actually allow you to play through the speakers of the device. But in the clock section right in here, this is where you can enable the swipe to switch watch face I showed you earlier. But you could also offset the time. So if you want your Apple Watch to be 5 minutes ahead from your iPhone, you can actually set the two apart, because on my Apple Watch now it says it's 4:33, where in actuality it's 4:28. This allows me to be early on my meetings, but personal preference, I really don't need this right now. But if you scroll down, this is where you enable the chimes, like I showed you earlier, but it only goes by the hour over here. You can also enable speak to time too, and you can allow it to be toggled with control, silent mode, or always speak. This will override it, so even though your device is on silent mode, it'll always tell you the time. But if you do control with silent mode, and now if we take 2 fingers and tap on the screen,
4:30 p.m.
it'll tell us the time verbally. And if we enable silent mode, and we do the same thing, it'll basically vibrate you the time, unless you override it to always speak. But this will only work if you have tech tip time enable, and here you can select Morse code or digital. Digital is easier because it's easier to understand unless you know Morse code. And now there's a new watch face notification. If you read the description, you'll receive a notification when a new watch face is available for your Apple Watch. Then we have monograph. Monograph allows you to do like a 3 to 4 text. It could be your initials or a short name, and it's only compatible on certain watch faces like the Millennium. Just go in complications and look for the personalization complication, and now you have your custom monograph on your watch face. And then still in the settings again, another app I cannot forget to mention is the noise. In the noise here, you can enable it so the Apple Watch will always monitor your decibel levels. So if you go back and go into notification, and depending on the setting you select to be the threshold for your Apple Watch to notify you. So if it goes over 90 decibels, and we've been exposed for this for 30 minutes, the Apple Watch will notify us to take a break and go to a different location so we don't lose any hearing. This is a powerful tool to preserve your hearing, of course. Now for sleep, there's a couple settings here you definitely should enable. If this is your only Apple Watch, you can allow it so your Apple Watch can remind you to charge your Apple Watch when you're about to go to sleep. So before you're about to go to sleep, it will send you a notification to charge your Apple Watch, so it makes it throughout the night. This way it doesn't run out of battery midway through your tracking. But a new feature that was added is sleep apnea. And if you like to set that up, unfortunately you have to leave this app and launch the health app. And then you're going to want to click on your profile picture on the top and click on health checklist. And then in activity, you may see sleep apnea notification is not set up. So click on here to go through the entire setup procedure to set up sleep apnea. This way your Apple Watch can actually notify you if you're experiencing sleep apnea ahead of time before it gets worse. But if we exit out of here and go into the actual sleep app now. Now unfortunately I didn't sleep with this Apple Watch. Here would be where I'll find more information about my sleep of the previous night, my core, my deep sleep, REM, and awake time. But if you scroll down, this is where you can adjust your bedtime, and you can allow the Apple Watch to actually play an alarm. When the alarm is enabled, at the time you select, you can allow it to either play sound, select the different sounds you want it to play. But if your Apple Watch is on silent, it will just vibrate your wrist. And I like using this because this will not wake up your partner that's also in bed with you. It will just wake you up by the vibrations. And of course you can always tap the clock icon to always have access to this too. And then you'll find more additional settings right here if you want to repeat a certain day or not, or create a custom schedule. And you could adjust the wind down time as well. So the workout app is probably one of the most used apps on the Apple Watch, of course, because it is a fitness tracker, and it does support a triathlon. So you'll find it in the multi-sport category. Tap on here and tap the little pencil icon. Here's where you can actually add or adjust some of these workouts if you have a different style workout you're about to complete. And then just start the workout from here, or send it to a friend or a family with their contact information, or you can delete the workout from here as well. But now whenever you select an actual workout, like let's do indoor walk, this 3-second timer can be bypassed if you just tap on it. Right now, since I don't have it on my wrist, it's showing us the screen. But whenever you see that 3-second timer, just tap on it, it'll bypass it. But if you switch to this page, here's where you can find the check-in. This is useful if you have a loved one or somebody that you like to check in with once you complete a workout or once you're at a certain place to start your workout. And you can send a notification that you arrived safely or you're done with your workout safely if you're doing like an outdoor jog as an example. And you can tap on the profile picture to switch between a different contact person as well. But if you tap edit right here, here's where you can change it to start to check in automatically when you arrive, after a certain timer, or after your workout ends. This check-in option will automatically pop up. And if you have any further questions about the check-in notification, you can click on here. It'll break down everything for you. But getting out of here, a minute has gone by. You unlock the new plus icon by tapping here. If you're switching from one workout to another workout, tap the plus, your workout library will pop up, and you can select your next workout you're about to do and saving it all in one track record. And then as it's demonstrating, of course, these two buttons will pause your workout and resume. It also has auto pause abilities as well. But let's end this and let's go ahead and talk about offline maps. The Apple Watch now supports offline modes. And to show you how to set it up if you're new, it's as easy as going to your main iPhone, launch the map app, and then down here where it shows your profile icon, click on here. It will bring up this page and tap on offload maps. From here, a new pop-up window will pop up. Here you can add the location where you want to save that offload map. So I'm going to type in Yosemite. So we got Yosemite National Park, and you can select the size, how much you want to save and how much you don't. And it will tell you the storage that will take up down here. Tap download, allow it to do its thing. And once it's downloading, on the bottom right here, make sure it has sync with Apple Watch enabled. Then next time when you have your Apple Watch on the charging dock, it will save this offload map on your Apple Watch and will be stored inside its internal storage. So you don't have to have either reception on both devices or have your phone with you on your hike, so you can have it powered off and still have your map still enabled on the Apple Watch. So that's how somebody could benefit off of that. And then you can also do offload routes as well. And to get access to offload routes ability, tap on your profile once again. And now just click on the library section. And from here, tap on routes and you'll find some routes right here, but we're going to start fresh and tap create. Zoom out, select like some type of path right here. So I'm going to tap on here. Oop, that's not a route. Just going to do this, I guess, highway maybe. We're going to start the hike from there and end right here. And you'll have three options right here to allow it to be a closed loop, out and back, or you can reverse it if you decide to change your mind. And then just tap save, name it whatever, and then just make sure download route is enabled. And then just tap this, and then save, and then tap done. And it's saying pending, should be saving now. I don't know why it made me do it twice. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it did save. And now that map, that route's offloaded on the iPhone and will automatically save on the Apple Watch when it's in its charging dock. So if we launch the map app now, by tapping on the magnifying glass right here on the Apple Watch, tap in more. And if you scroll down, you'll see the routes. And this is where you can manage those created routes we recently created. And they are also will be saved offline for the Apple Watch. Now, if you ever misplaced your Apple Watch around the household, on your iPhone, in Control Center, if you long hold, tap Add Control, and type in PIN, you do have the ability to also pin your Apple Watch. So you can pin both your devices if you misplaced it without using the Find My app. Now, whenever you're replying to messages, because if you see, you have access to like simple stuff like the likes and stuff like that we are familiar with. You can also add stickers, audio, logs, Apple Pay, gifts, check-in, or digital touch. And whenever you're replying, you have full access to the keyboard, or you can tap right here to switch between scribbles. You can like scribble stuff and use digital crown to move the cursor, or dictation, So we could just say what we're trying to reply without a keyboard or scribbles. And you could hit send, but I don't want to send it. And then down here, you do have suggestions, which you can create some. Just launch the Apple Watch app. And then in this menu, scroll down till you find messages. And then where it says default replies, this is where you can add more. Just tap on the add replies and you can just continue adding more and more to the list. And if you like to delete some, you can just tap edit and delete them right here. Not sure why they're kind of grayed out though. But the Apple Watch does have a unique feature, and that is the digital touch. And it's pretty straightforward. Here you have a little color wheel because you can scribble. If you like to scribble something, it'll automatically send. With two fingers, if you tap on the screen, will actually monitor your heart rate and beat like that and give them like a cool animation. And if you pull down, it'll cause the heart to like rip apart. But if you like a fireball effect, you just long hold with a single finger and you do like a fireball. So those are some cool effects you could do with the digital touch. And then whenever you receive a FaceTime call and you were unable to answer it and they left you a voice video memo, you can play it on your Apple Watch now too. Now, another really great powerful app on the Apple Watch is definitely the camera app, because by launching this, here's the paired iPhone, and we launch the app, it will automatically launch the camera on our device, and we can switch from the front and rear camera. As you can see, we also have additional camera controls as well, because if we switch to the best camera on the iPhone, the rears, we have the ability to zoom in with the digital crown, just like that. Ideal whenever you're doing like photo gatherings with friends and stuff. You can just take the shot right here and also start recording from here, or end recording as well. This is also a powerful tool as a last minute baby monitor because it is wireless, and you can utilize this to go into hard to reach areas to see what's going on. An example would be drywalls, where if you're trying to look for a stud and this could fit in there, you can use this camera and just view it from here, and so you can still turn on the flashlight whenever you're recording. And then if you have an Apple TV at home, or a TV that's compatible with the Apple TV remote, the remote app actually allows you to control your television from your Apple Watch. So here I could use this to use as like the arrow on the remote. I can also adjust the audio, pause and play, go back, or I could even power off my television from here as well. Then if you find yourself working in a loud work site, a safety feature that is also built into the Apple Watch can be located in settings. If we scroll down to the noise app, because you do have a cool environmental sound ability. By having this enabled, if we go back, the decibel level that you selected right here will notify you in case you've been exposed to like 90 decibels for longer than 30 minutes, which is known to cause hearing problems. And the Apple Watch will basically notify you if you've been exposed to a certain decibel for quite a while. You should probably get out of there and let your ears rest. So to prevent any hearing loss, a great powerful tool right there. And when receiving an incoming call, if you can't pick up, tap here, answer on iPhone. This way you don't lose the caller. And once you have the chance, just go to your phone. As you see, they are left on hold, and you could pick up whenever, or you could change your mind, just put them on voicemail or start recording ahead of time. And then if you ever have a dead Apple Watch, it can still display time. You just tap the power button, give it a couple seconds, and it'll tell you that not only is the battery dead, but also the current time. In the activity app, this one right here, a new powerful tool that was finally given to us is if you tap on a ring, you could not only change the ring goals, right here, all of them, to your own personal preference, but you can also pause your ring. So if you're injured or ill or busy, you could say pause your spray for today until Monday, October, or a custom date as well. But not only that, whenever you switch between different categories, if you change your calorie goals over here, or goals in general, like standing goal, you could do it for today or daily if this is going to be the next norm. And of course, here you can share your activities with friends and family. If you like to compete, this will be where you'll monitor your awards from challenges. And then this one will be your trends for your training loads. And the white line above is based off your 28 days. And the one with the dots is your recent 7 days. So you can track your progress if you're steady, slacking a bit, or you're just killing it at the gym, as an example. Now the remote app is pretty cool too, because with the remote app, if your TV is compatible, or you have an Apple TV, you could control your TV from here. Everything from pause and play to like navigating on your screen, switching inputs, even muting or unmuting your device, but most importantly, powering off your TV without the TV remote. So now that we have a passcode on the Apple Watch Ultra, if you want your Apple Watch Ultra to be unlocked from your iPhone, or your Apple Watch to unlock your iPhone, there's a setting you could change for that. So first of all, let's put on our device and let's set it so our Apple Watch can be unlocked from our iPhone by just simply unlocking our iPhone while we're wearing it. In this page, go into passcode and then just enable unlock with iPhone. Confirm your passcode, give it a couple of seconds. And just like that, now if I take off my watch, it's locked, and I put it back on, and I go ahead and unlock my watch, my iPhone I mean, give it a couple of seconds, it unlocked my Apple Watch, and I could have the override ability too. But now my Apple Watch is unlocked without me having to enter the passcode. Now if you want your iPhone to be unlocked from your Apple Watch, same thing. But now you're going to go on your iPhone settings and go into passcode and Face ID, enter your login, and go down and just enable Apple Watch. The Apple Watch, you want it to be able to do this. So by enabling it, now your Apple Watch will be able to unlock your iPhone if Face ID isn't reading. And then if you want your Apple Watch to unlock your Mac computer, you could also enable it too. Just go on your Mac computer system settings, go in security and passcode typically, and just check mark and enable the Apple Watch. And now whenever you're within Bluetooth range, pretty close to it, your Mac will automatically unlock without you actually typing in the passcode. And lastly, if you're wearing your Apple Watch that's paired with your iPhone, if you walk away, your screen will actually turn off and will automatically turn back on once you get close enough. But other than that, there you guys have it. That is everything you could do with an Apple Watch in general. All the cool features you get and some. It's just overall a powerful smartwatch. But now by watching this video, you know everything from A to Z. So you know how to utilize your Apple Watch to its full potential. I appreciate every single one of you guys for watching, and make sure to leave this video a like, especially if you got something useful, so other people could also find this video easily. Thank you so much for watching.